In this week's episode of the Motorhome Matt Podcast,
we ask the question, are campsites fit for motorhome owners?
At that leisure shop, we have a brand new chair and it fits under the desk.
And we answer your questions on finding dealers for a specific motorhome model and how to find your vehicle emissions.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureShop.com and sponsored by Right.
Remember to follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and that little bell.
Dave's got another deal at that leisure shop. What is it then, Matt?
It is this chair. Can you believe? Here it comes out from under the desk. This is a chair. This is the Pilton chair.
And it's in a bag, and it's about the bag, 18 inches long?
About that, yeah.
About 3 inches wide?
It's tiny, folded up.
Is it for an adult?
It is for an adult, yes.
Really?
Believe it or not, assembled, it will take 150 kilos of adult.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And the deal is they are $34.99 each, or two for £60, and they fold up really easily into this tiny little bag.
And how much do they weigh?
That much.
Not very much at all.
So you can get these on thatleisureshop.com or pop in store. This is this week's Dave's deal. 2 Pilton chairs for £60. We love them.
Pilton, that's where they have Glastonbury, isn't it?
Exactly. See, you sussed us out.
Hey, the old hippies, they're right on it.
We're staying local.
The VanLove Festival's just around the corner. So, Matt, what are you up to at the show?
This is going to be a great weekend. I'm really excited about it. Never been to it before. And this year, it's at Thruxton Race Circuit in Hampshire. It runs from the 18th to the 21st of June. And on the Thursday, there's a VIP evening where I will be interviewing several of the great and the good of YouTube and socials. That's going to be great fun. And Friday, I'm dead excited about this. There is a go-kart race, and I will be racing the Stig.
No, you'll be following the Stig.
So Ben Collins is coming. The whole event is sponsored by Warranty Solutions Group, Solbio and others. And Ben, the Stig, is Warranty Solutions Group brand ambassador for their motor trade. And I invited Ben along and he agreed. So we are going to be racing the Stig in this go-kart race. It's going to be dead exciting. I think everyone's really worried about racing me because of I'm still in recovery from a triple heart bypass. I said, that'd be fine. So I think they're going to give me a cushion for my sternum.
They need to give you a head start is what they need to give you.
I think they're considering me fair game. But anyway, I'm in it. I'm going to have a go. And then on Saturday, I believe at 6 o'clock, I'm on the main stage. There's loads of big acts on the main stage, but they're giving me an hour on it with my record decks, and I am doing a DJ set.
DJ Justy Bins. He's off.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing an hour of my favourite indie bangers. It's going to be riotous. It's going to be good fun.
If you want tickets to go and see all this, and I would thoroughly recommend it, you can get 10% off your tickets with code MotorhomeMatt. That's one word, MotorhomeMatt at mhmp.info/vanlove.
I'm really excited about it. I'll see you there.
The main topic of the Motorhome Matt podcast this week are campsites fit for motorhomes.
Yeah.
So, Matt, what do you make of this then?
So there are a number of challenges facing campsites right now, and they are real for both campsite owners and motorhome owners. And I wanted to unpack this in a bit of detail with an industry expert.
Because in the olden days, 10 years ago, you used to roll up, didn't you, in your caravan, and you used to have to plug in electricity. But now with motorhomes, so many of them are now completely self-sufficient.
Precisely, and we're able to go off-grid, and we don't need to go to a campsite in the same way we used to. So I was joined in the studio by industry pundit, reviewer and famous face of the motorhome campervan world, Mr. Peter Vaughan, and we discussed exactly this topic. I'm delighted to welcome back into the studio Peter Vaughan from Out and About Live and the Motorhome Campervan YouTube channel. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
You are now a regular guest on the Motorhome Matt podcast. It's great to have you. We have had loads of really positive and encouraging comments, haven't we?
That's great.
On the recent episodes that we've done together. And people asking, can you do more? Because they love your expert and experienced insight, because you have been doing this for, 45 years?
Yeah.
Man and boy, literally. Man and boy.
Yeah.
In case you've missed previous episodes with Peter, do go and check them out. We've been looking at kind of the motorhome industry. We've been looking at the pressures facing motorhomers today, and what we're in for in the future and what we need to change going forward. So it's been great, hasn't it? Good fun. Today, I promised listeners and viewers that we would talk about campsites. And I want to talk about exactly that, the challenges facing the campsite. I think campsite owners have got a tough gig at the moment because I think their customers are being drawn away from them and encouraged to go off-grid by manufacturers of vehicles that are off-grid capable. I think we're being lured by apps such as Brit Stops, Park for Night, Search for Sites, all promoting these brilliant alternatives to a campsite. But would you agree with that ethos that campsites have a challenge right now?
Yeah, I think in Europe they've had a challenge for a long time, haven't they, with the Airs network and Stellplatz in Germany, and
yes,
people have had cheaper, more basic alternatives to campsites, particularly when they only want to stop for one night or they're travelling en route to somewhere.
But of course, an Air, though, is very different to a campsite. I mean, you're not allowed to even open a window on an Air. You mustn't extend your footprint. That's the rule, isn't it? You're not allowed to put levelling ramps down or your levelling system. You're not allowed to open.
There's quite a few people ignore that sort of
of course they do. I've seen it. Yeah. Barbecues, tables and chairs, awning out. None of that is permissible officially on an Air. But you're right, they are being lured away, and there is a mixed offering in Europe. But Europe is very, very different to here in the UK.
It is.
When it comes to campsite provision. Have you had much experience travelling Europe and staying on Airs and the like?
Yeah, in our own van, because we've got a VW pop top, we tend to use sites because we need the facilities. But using test vans, I've stayed on Airs and equivalents all over Europe, and they're great on especially in France, I think, where you can park up in a little village, and they bring money into the village because you go and eat in the restaurant or buy bread from the bakery and that sort of thing, where it keeps a little local community going. So I think that there's a very positive message for Airs, but that doesn't replicate well for the campsites, because it's drawing people away to as I say, a cheaper, more basic alternative. But I still see sort of almost two levels now, that there's people that don't want any facilities, they don't need any facilities, they've got everything in their van, they've got the solar, they've got the lithium, diesel heating, etc., etc. And they're very off-grid orientated. And I do see more vans just parked up in random places, in lay-bys and car parks and so on, than you ever used to.
Yes.
But
did you see them this morning? We drove in from my house. You came down last night. And did you see, as we dropped down the hill, there was a car park on the right.
Right. And
there were 3 vans parked there. That never used to be a park-up location.
No.
And someone's added it to one of these apps. I think it's on Park for Night. And there's always vans in there now, which is fine with me, as long as they take their rubbish away.
Yeah.
But you're right, they're cropping up in often random locations. Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a good thing for local communities?
I think it is, and it gives people more choice when they're using their vans.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a pub near us that I pass regularly, and you used to occasionally see a motorhome in the car park. Now you go past and there's nearly always 2 or 3 in the car park.
Yes.
So that pub is obviously getting extra business that it wouldn't otherwise have got.
And they're probably on an app called Brit Stops, which is pubs and farm shops where you can stay.
They've got 1,400 odd locations.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm part of this problem. I'm part of the challenge for campsites because we use Brit Stops a lot. So we love watching MasterChef, and the chefs that go on there often end up running the kitchen in a pub. So we'll go and find that pub, see if we can stay in it and enjoy their food. So we do turn a free stopover into a £140 night out. So we can't do it very often.
Cheaper to use a campsite.
Definitely would, yeah. So we don't do it every week, needless to say. But I am part of the problem because I like doing that. And I'm intrigued as to what campsites can do to attract people like me and other consumers back to them.
But I think equally it's as I say, the two extremes. We talked about the sort of more basic extreme, and I have come across campsites in Europe where they have an air outside the campsite gates for people that just want to stop en route, maybe empty their toilet and fill up the fresh water. So that's one part of the solution. But I think also the campsites that offer more have more future. If they've got an on-site restaurant, a swimming pool, those sort of leisure facilities, then it's much more tempting to stay, not just to stay, but to stay for longer.
Yes.
And particularly if you've got family. My lad is much more tempted to go to a campsite with a swimming pool than just one that's basically a field with some hard standings in it.
Yes, and it depends on your use case, doesn't it? See, we would be attracted to a far more basic campsite, a CL or CS. That would appeal more to us, because I'm not interested in the campsites with the nightclub and the
No, we
pool.
don't want a nightclub, but...
Really?
But, yeah,
I've seen your glitter jacket.
Have you seen my dancing? That's a whole different podcast.
I'll look out for that. But I would err away from those types of campsites, because when the kids were younger, maybe. But now I crave something quieter and far more basic and simpler.
But we've stayed on campsites in France that are... There's no noise, but they have got the swimming pool. They've got an on-site restaurant, which is not your sort of typical campsite basic food. It's a proper restaurant.
Yeah, I mean we work with Adam Rogers, and their range of campsites is amazing. I mean, some of the facilities on them are hundreds of pitches, choices of restaurants.
And I should
shopping mall.
Should mention our Premier Parks too as part of the Out and About Live. You've got some really, really nice campsites there.
I was on your website, Out and About Live, KK, let's give it a plug, and I was looking at the campsite finder, and I was stunned at how many campsites are on there. And it is a brilliant resource. The guys running it, Jack & Co, are doing a super job at kind of creating this Premier Parks list.
Yeah, and that gives you the best of the best in the UK.
Yeah, I assumed that was campsites with static homes on.
No.
And I was really wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, as you say, the best of the best. So do you think the UK would be wise to adopt more of a European model here, with more airs and more of these, as you say, these kind of transit stopovers, so that more motorhome users who just want to stop for a night, use the services, top up the water, empty the waste. Do you think we'd be wise to adopt that kind of approach?
I think we would. I think not everybody wants the facilities that a campsite traditionally offers.
Yeah, I don't think everyone needs them, do they, anymore?
No.
And of course, this move away, we're seeing caravan sales really slowing down, means that people can be far more mobile, and the journey is as much part of the holiday as stopping for several days on one location.
Yeah, and increasingly the market is campervans rather than even the bigger motorhomes. The big motorhomes seem to be in decline, and the campervan market is growing and growing. I was with Auto Trail recently, and they said 60% of their production now is panel van based.
Yes.
And those vehicles are much more likely to move on, if not every day, every couple of days, rather than stay somewhere for a week.
Well, it's the same at Bailey. I was there, and Simon Howard was telling me how they've evolved as a business into far more campervans. Yeah. So their motorised product, as he calls it, is, I think, now outdoing the caravan production numbers. So they're still strong with caravans, and they have a very loyal caravan following, but they're producing more of the motorised product, motorhomes and campervans, simply in response to consumer demand. Yeah. I'm not sure we're seeing many campsites innovating, and I think that's why they're giving themselves a tough gig. I'm planning on doing a series of episodes where I interview a number of campsite owners and try and find out how they're innovating and keeping afloat, and how are they attracting people to them, because we've got some superhero campsites where they're charging, frankly, a small fortune.
Yeah.
150 quid a night.
Really?
Yeah, but you arrive and there's a deck, there's a hot tub, you've got your own little shed with you've stayed in a similar thing with a shower.
We're about to. We've booked a campsite in France this summer, which has a unit behind the pitch with your own toilet and shower and even a fridge. And we've got a small compressor fridge in the VW. Yeah. But to be able to stock up more, keep the
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Keep the non-alcoholic beers and the Coca-Colas cold for longer.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's that kind of innovation which intrigues me.
Yeah.
And I think there's always going to be a demand for a CL type site that's, basic, with just a toilet facility and fresh water. That will always appeal to me, but I think we need to see more innovation. So I'm hoping to unpack some great innovation.
Well, the motorhome market has changed quite a bit over the last 5-10 years, hasn't it? So the campsites need to evolve with that change.
And I'm sure there are campsites doing exactly that.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the biggest change in the motorhome market over the last 5-10 years?
I think the move to smaller vehicles. A lot of people seem to be
Yes.
downsizing from those, the big tag axles that were so popular are very much out of fashion at the moment, and a lot more van-based, even up to 7-metre sprinters, but still panel van based.
Yeah, I'm talking to people and finding that they're using the van in shorter spurts of holiday.
Yeah.
So they're not doing that traditional 2-week holiday and the odd weekend. They're doing lots of short weekends. So I think that's just how working life has changed, perhaps. Certainly for us, that's how we now use our van, is lots of little trips.
But even the people that are going away, that have retired and are going away for longer periods, I'm talking to a lot of people at the shows that are saying, no, I don't want that big coach built anymore. I want to be in something that's just that bit more manoeuvrable and easier to park, easier to drive.
And do you think that's a change we're going to continue to see, a growth area we're going to see?
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, in Germany, there's a slight move back towards motorhomes from campervans, but I don't see that in the UK.
Really? Interesting. Well, let's see what we see at the shows this year. You'll be at many of the Warner shows this year.
I will be at many of them, giving my talks at the advice centres.
Yeah. And if you're thinking of buying your first or updating your current motorhome, do attend the advice centre and attend Peter's talk. And if you're not there, I often step in and do it for you. And they are really helpful, a way to get advice on choosing the best layout and understanding what can seem like a can of worms, can't it?
And we've got hundreds of motorhome reviews on the Motorhome Campervan YouTube channel. Any make or model you're looking for, look for it on there to see if we've reviewed it.
How many motorhomes do you think you've reviewed over your 45 years? There must be a number.
In the first probably about the first 5 years, I kept a list on paper, and I gave up that years and years ago.
It must be thousands.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And how many copies of MMM magazine have you got in your garage?
I've got every copy of what motorhome or which motor caravan as it started back to its first issue in February '86.
Yeah.
And I think I've got MMM back before that.
Goodness me. Don't have a cigarette in your garage, will you? Peter, it's great to get your insights. Thank you so much. You're a man with a wealth of experience and knowledge, and people do love unpacking your brain. It's a dark place for sure, but often we find something interesting. So thank you for joining me again today. Can we keep doing this as an occasional and regular feature? I think it's really good, but we'll get people to fire some questions in that they want us to ask you, and we can discuss. But I would love to do that. Great. Brilliant. Peter Vaughan, thank you so much.
That's Matt in conversation there with Peter Vaughan, journalist, reviewer and YouTuber of Out and About Live. And as Matt says, if you have a question for Matt and Peter, please do send it to us at mhmp.info/askmatt. I'll repeat that, mhmp.info/askmatt. It's the Motorhome Matt Podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Get 15% off your premium with Ripe. The discount applies automatically if you click the link in the episode description.
Our Q&A, our questions and answers. You ask the questions, and as every week, Matt, he endeavours to answer them. But of course, if he doesn't know, he'll ask somebody who jolly well does. First of all, Dominic McCready got in touch.
Hi Matt, it's Dom again. Dominic, I've sent you a message. You may regret me finding this link because I may well be putting up a lot of questions. Keep up the good work, as I've said before. My question is, if we're looking for a very specific model of van, is there somewhere we can go to research all the dealers across the UK, or where's the best place to find out if that van is available in any of the dealers or privately for sale, both in the UK and in Europe? The van we're looking for very specifically is a Burstner Ixio i746, and that's the layout my wife has settled on, and they are a bit like hen's teeth, so I'm looking for some advice as to where to find them.
Thanks for the question there, Dominic. So what he's really after, isn't it, is a motorhome dealer directory.
Yeah, he wants me to find one for him. It's a great question, and one that's regularly asked, Dominic. You're right to ask it. Thank you so much. Some manufacturers do list stock that's available in the UK, but only really new stock. I know Adria have done this. I don't know if they still are. But this would need to be a used one because it's no longer in the Berstner model range. I use Auto Trader every day. That's now where every dealer is placing stock. There is also Caravan Finder is another website where you'll find used motorhomes for sale. I found an i746, a lovely A-class motorhome from Berstner. I found one at Camper UK when I was searching yesterday as we record this. So they did have one for sale. So that might be worth a shot for you. But there isn't really a site other than those resale sites like Auto Trader, possibly Facebook Marketplace, possibly eBay. Go careful, but Google is your friend. And if you just Google the model for sale, you will find sites that have had one or do still have one for sale. But I would say make friends with the dealer that specialises in the flavour of motorhome you're searching for. So go to your local Berstner main dealer or even search through the network of Berstner main dealers and tell them what you're looking for, because if they get one in part exchange, they know they can ring you and you've immediately got interest, in someone looking to buy it. But if you have got a Berstner XCO i746 for sale, do get in touch and we'll let Dominic know.
Well, we tell you where he is, but he didn't bother telling us.
No, you've got to tell us where you are, please.
Cheers, Dominic. And by the way, Matt, in this case, dealers are your friends, aren't they? They want to sell motorhomes, and if they know there's customers out there who are looking for something specific, give them as much information as you possibly can, because they'll be more than happy to keep an eye out for you.
Absolutely, yeah. And people are often telling me what they're looking for, and I will then, if I come across it, someone's asking us to sell it for them, or we're taking one in part exchange, I've then got that list of people I know I can approach, and it's a quick sell. Everyone's a winner.
Alan and Claire Murray, they're in Bath. Hi, Matt. Not a question this time, but a huge thank you for your valuable time when we visited your shop. It was great to meet you and benefit from your knowledge and advice, especially regarding our dilemma of valuation of our current VW camper van. Sorry we could not buy the Aftex TV, but again, appreciate your candour in suggesting our best option would be to buy elsewhere.
Yeah, we didn't have the one they wanted. A lovely van as well. And it was difficult to value, but great to meet you both. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's the shop where exactly?
They popped into our North Somerset shop in Hewish at BS24 6RT, and our other shop is at Wellington, junction 26 of the M5 at Chelston Motorhomes.
And it really is just about half a mile off the motorway, that Chelston one. It's not a long drive once you get off the as indeed the Hewish one. It's not a long drive.
2 miles, yeah. So just Google search that leisure shop and you'll find our Google Maps locations.
And if you're travelling down to the southwest or through the southwest this summertime, drop in. We'd love to see you, wouldn't we?
I'm often here. If not, Dave and the team will give you a very warm welcome at Hewish, and Colin and Tam and Martin will give you a very warm welcome down at Wellington.
So Alan and Claire say many thanks to you, Matt. Dave from the Adria Owners Club has got a question. We have the Slovenia-Croatia club rallies, and we have several units over the 3.5 tonne for Austria and Slovenia. We need to collect Go Box and Dars Go respectively at the borders. What's he talking about?
So these are toll boxes that enable you to pay for the tolls on the roads you're going to be using.
So you can just drive through?
Yeah.
Amongst the documentation they asked to produce is driving emissions. This isn't shown on the V5. I would expect it is Euro 5, but not sure where to obtain this documentation. Any idea? Is it the dealer?
No.
I thought emissions were on V5s.
No, they are sometimes.
Yeah.
The thing is, with a motorhome, you don't declare the emissions on the certificate of conformity. So this is the certification that registers it in the EU.
Right.
And emissions are not put on there. If they were, the road tax would be massive amounts. So because it doesn't have the emissions on that certificate, our road tax is £171 for over 3.5 tonne and £300 million, whatever it is, for a private light goods, 345. I can't remember what it is. It's not on the V5. My advice is go to a free website, totalcarcheck.co.uk. Punch the number plate in, scroll down where it's asking you for money, and there will be all the details that the DVLA hold on your vehicle and that Total Car Check can access, and it will tell you the emissions class. So this is going to be Euro 4, Euro 5, Euro 6, and so on. But it's defined there.
Right, I gotcha. So no point looking at your MOT certificate then?
It's not on the MOT. No. That will tell you how much emissions it's throwing out in gobbledygook.
But not what class it is.
Not what class it is, no. The other way you could do it is go to the Gov website and search Bradford, Bristol, Bath, Manchester, where there is a ULEZ zone, and put your number plate in there, and it will tell you if you've got to pay. The problem is that bottom threshold for requiring you to pay moves. So in Bristol, we're about to go Euro 6. So it doesn't actually tell you what your emissions are. It just tells you whether you've got to pay. Now, Euro 5 is not compliant with a low emission zone in every city. So that's one way of seeing if you've got to pay. But actually getting your Euro class is best done at totalcarcheck.co.uk.
How do people get in touch?
We love it if you did. Great questions make the podcast gold. So mhmp.info/Ask Matt. You can record it by clicking the orange button or fill in the form and we'll read it for you.
And you can join our new Facebook group, Chat with Motorhome Matt, at mhmp.info/chat.
And if you're looking for trusted brands, services and products that I can endorse and I've used, then you must visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory at mhmp.info/approved. I'll be honest, NordVPN started as something I only used while travelling, and now it's on all my devices all of the time.
All of them, even at home?
Yep, absolutely. Public Wi-Fi is the obvious risk, but even at home, I like knowing my data is protected. It blocks malware, dodgy sites, ads, the lot, and the Threat Protection Pro acts like a personal bouncer for your browser.
If your name's not on the list, you ain't coming in. So it's not just for internet gurus and digital nomads?
No, it's not. Absolutely not. It's for anyone using the internet. So whether you're booking a site, streaming TV, or checking your bank, NordVPN just quietly keeps it safe in the background.
And where do they go?
Just head to nordvpn.com/Motorhome Matt. You can get 4 months free thrown in, and you've got 30 days to change your mind if it's not for you.
Simple as that.
Sorted in minutes. It's worth every penny.
Amongst the documentation they asked to produce is driving emissions.
Sorry, my chair squeaked.